I'm the 5-Minute Professor, and today's lesson is Christmas trees, like this one. This is my Christmas tree. This is my house. There are cats running around here. The first Christmas tree is German, and you probably figured that out. Oh, Tannenbaum, for goodness sake. But it's not as old as you probably think. It's from the 16th century, and the original trees were cut fir trees, and then they put edible stuff on them, apples and nuts and some pastries, sometimes figs, just set out on the tree. There weren't lights, of course. It wasn't even until the 19th century they started thinking, hey, let's put something that'll burn onto a Christmas tree that'll burn, because they put candles in the 19th century. But all of that started in Germany, and then it went from Germany to Great Britain in the 1700s. And why is that? Because the Britons, or the kings of the Britons, were Germans. George III was the Duke of Hanover, for goodness sake, and Victoria married a German, and they spoke German. So that's the Christmas tree that we think of. That's the history of the Christmas tree, sometimes called a Yule tree, which is not to be confused with a Yule log, which has its history based in kind of pagan, spiritualistic stuff. The country of Georgia has their very own kind of weirdish tradition where they take old dried up branches from walnut trees and hazelnut trees and form them to make them look like a conifer, and then they put food on them, just like German trees. There's been a U.S. national Christmas tree, and I don't care what you heard on the internet, it's still called a Christmas tree since 1923. And here's something that's unusual. In spite of the fact that we in the United States spend $1.5 billion on Christmas trees, Europe still grows more Christmas trees than we do every year. Now, that brings me to a discussion. I like artificial Christmas trees. I grew up with artificial Christmas trees because my mom's allergic, I don't know, to the smell of pine and happiness. I don't know. But we always had an artificial tree. And I got to tell you, when I've had real trees, and I've grown real trees, I've grown trees outside, brought them in the pots, and then taken them back outside. But I hate the idea of cutting down a Christmas tree just for the sake of killing it. But there's a lot of arguments on both sides, because that Christmas tree, which is a grown tree, and they're grown on farms, so it's not like you're going out into the woods and cutting down trees that otherwise would have been fine. They're farming them, and they're cutting them down. But then you can recycle that whole tree. It can be turned into mulch. It can be turned into yard fill. It can be made into just about anything. The plastic trees are not quite as recyclable because of the way they mix different products together to make them. If it was all plastic, that'd be one thing. If it was all aluminum, and there was a thing for a while in the 70s where they made aluminum Christmas trees. But if it was all one thing, then it's pretty easy to recycle. But this is a mixture of materials. There's plastics in here. There's very thin gauged wire. But it still makes a hell of a lot less mess. I've got 2 cats, and the cats would chew the crap out of a real tree. So for me, it's an artificial tree, and I'm okay with it. This one looks kind of nice. I like it. Tell me what you think. Make some comments down below. Perceptum, quispium, damnatium. Learn something, damn it, and Merry Christmas.